Hello and welcome to Sepp and Shelley's DIY. Today I've got these dining chairs for you. I've brought 6 of them. The wood is in quite good condition this time, which means I don't have to strip any of the wood. I just probably have to use a little bit of teak oil to put on them to clean them all back up again. But what needs doing is the upholstery. The upholstery is worn out, it's terribly dirty, it's got stains all over it. The foam is deteriorating, so I need new foam, new padding, and I'm going to show you how to recover this chair. And the best thing about these chairs are there's only 2 bolts in each corner which are holding the legs on, so it's quite easy to take apart. Mr. Sepp to the rescue. Before we take it completely apart, we have to remember to give each leg a name, A, B, and this is C. So because we take all 6 dining chairs apart together and put them into storage while we're repairing the upholstery, and then we have to know which legs belong to which chair. I'm now going to take the seating apart. The descriptions of what tools I use is down below in the description, so take a look if you want to know what you need. As I'm taking it apart, I'm careful to make sure I keep the material in one piece so that I can use then the material as a pattern. So let's get on with it. First of all, I'm taking all this upholstery tape off that's around, right in the bin, and all along here there's all staples, and with my staple remover I'm just going to take every staple out bit for bit. I've got all the staples out now, and now I'm going to use a marker pen and write on the material where the front of the seat is. Okay, so now I'm going to take the foam off here, and so that you can see better, I'm just going to pull this padding up here first of all, so I can get to the foam, and occasionally I use a paint scraper to loosen this padding off. Okay, and we do that all round till it's all off. So I've loosened my padding now all around the edges, and now I'm going to use my paint scraper to help me get this foam off here. And now you can see all the dirt and grime from the last 60 years. That's why I always recommend any old chairs to recover. Even if you think the padding looks fine, you go underneath and it's awful. So this is just for the bin, and now I'm going to just finish all this off, wipe it all down, get all the dirt and grime off before we go on to the next stage. This is the seat after I cleaned it down. I just scraped off all the rest of the foam that was on there, and then I used just a little bit of soap and water on it and to get everything off it. Then I've just let it dry in the sun. Right, and now we're ready to cut the foam down to size. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to place it over here like this, and I need at the front of the chair, this is the front of the seat, this part here, I need just over 1 centimetre foam at the front. Yeah, I've got 13 millimetres there, which then when I put the padding on top, this pulls over the front of the seat so that we don't get a hard edge that digs into us when we sit on it. So this padding, this foam then folds over nicely. I'm going to use a black marker pen and I'm just going to draw around it. I'm going to use a pair of scissors to cut the foam out. It's only 2 centimetres thick, so it cuts easy. Any thicker and I'd use a knife. As I cut the foam out, I made sure I cut on the outside of my line. I didn't cut inside, on the outside, because then it gives me just these few millimetres that then overlaps nicely over the edge of the seating. Now we can put some spray glue on and stick the foam to the seat. Mr. Sepp's going to do it. Now I'm going to measure my seat so I know how big I need my padding, and I take the measurements at the widest part. Here I've got around 60, and if I go over this way, here's the widest at the front, here to here, that's 64. So I'm going to cut out some padding about 65 by 70. This is a 1 centimetre padding that's going on over the top of the seat. To do this, we're going to spray all the wooden areas around here, here, and then we're going to put the padding on. As I was putting the padding on, you could see in the film that we pulled it tight and pulled over the edges, making sure everything was nice so that the edges look crisp. And now I'm going to cut off the excess padding, and I'll just cut along the top of the seating along here. And to do the edges, I cut down at the corner a bit. I don't want to cut right the way down to about here, so that it tucks nicely in, and over here as well. And this is so you can get a close up and you see I've got the padding that's going just a little bit over here. There's no foam here, but when I put the material on and pull the padding up with the material, then we stay underneath the bolt holes, and over here also the padding goes a little bit over the edge, and that gives us a nice neat corner. The choice of your fabric that you use for a chair seating is up to you, of course, but I would always suggest when you're first starting to do this for the first time, then I'd use a simple plain colour like here. Although this does have a grain still, you can see the selvage is on this side here, and the grain still goes here, so I have to make sure that all of my chairs are with the grain, otherwise they won't match one another. So I'm using this nice red colour, and I'm going to use the old pattern because I know that it fits exactly. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over onto the other side. So this is the back, and if you can remember, I marked the front of my material with an F. That's the front of my material, so I know I have to cut out this way round. And this was also the good side, so I'm putting the good side, the right side, on top of the wrong side like this. Pulling this back a bit. And what I also do is I leave myself 2 or 3 centimetres all the way around so that I do have enough material. Right, so my pattern, and I'm going to pin. I'm just going to pin my pattern on. I'm now going to mark with a marker pen, just a little mark where the front is so that I don't get confused. Doesn't go through, it's fine. And now we're going to start to staple it onto the seating. If you decide to use a pattern material instead of a plain material, then I suggest cutting all 6 seating chairs, dining chairs out at the same time, so that you can make sure that you've got the repeat exactly the same on each dining chair so that the chairs don't look odd. So now I'm going to start stapling. I'm going to first of all take my seat. Here's the front, here's my dot, that's the front, and I know the straight line here's the front, and I'm just going to make sure I've got it exactly in the right place, checking the corners here. Corner here's quite good, here's okay, and over the back here I've got a little bit too much material at the back, so I'm just going to move back to give me a bit more play here. And here's okay. Now to check this side, that one's good, that one's a bit tight, so I'm going to go over that way a little bit. Okay, good, good. Okay, I'm now going to start to staple. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put a staple at the back, just one staple in the middle, and I pull a little bit but not too much. The first time I ever did upholstery, I always tended to pull too tight, and then you get like these waves, which I want to avoid. I want nice straight lines, not waves. So the best way I do it is I pull here a little bit, here, Mr. Sepp. Okay, and I do the same over here, pulling just a little bit. And if eventually they're not sitting right, one of them, I can always take them back out again. Okay, so we've done that. Now we're going to have a turn around here, and I'm going to do the front first. I'm going to just pull lightly on here, making sure I've got the material. And I need my gun, please, my stapler. Cute. And I just place, first of all, just every few centimetres or every couple of inches. And I don't go quite to the corner, I'm going to leave the corner so I've got room for play. And then I'm going to go along this edge as well. Making sure it's looking nice and neat. Okay, and now for the back. And here I'm just going to stroke up here. And as you can see, it's not quite tight enough, so that one staple that I've put in, I'm just going to take out because I want to pull it a little bit tighter, but not too tight. Out comes my staple, and I'm just going to pull that just that little bit tighter, pulling up and over and up at the back. That's looking good now. Okay, so cute. Now we're coming up and over. Okay, cute. And you don't need to pull really tight, just nice. It makes sure it's on the one side nice. I'll turn it round in a minute so you can see. So as you can see, I've pulled it nice and tight. If I push the material, there's not any waves in it, and if I sit on it, it's all going to come back. And now we do the same this way, and it'll be nice and tight. Doing exactly the same. We're going to pull the side up first, this side, and just put a staple in the middle. And I'm going to pull up this side and staple here in the middle. And I'm going to do exactly the same as I did the front and the back. Now we're going to do the corner. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check where the bolt holes are. And my first staple, I want to go just above, just in here, above that bolt hole. So I'm just pulling the material taut over the corner, nice and tight. Making sure I haven't got any big bumps, that's just right. And I'm going to staple just in here. feel where that bolt hole is. Oh, I've moved a little bit. The bolt hole's here, so I'm just going in just above there with my first staple. In we go. Okay, and I'm going to start here on this corner, and I just make a neat pleat just of here. I want the pleat to be right on the edge of the wood, so that this pleat I don't see in here, it's just here, nice and neat. I've just pulled it down, and I'm just going to put a staple in there, and I'm going to staple now here. Got 2 in, and while I'm here I'm just going to turn this, and this is how I'm going to make my corner. It's like this, and I'm just going to pinch it so that here is where my corner is. I'm just going to pinch it, and I'm just going to pull it back nice and neat across here, and on this corner I staple twice. This one has to hold. Okay, then I've got this excess material here that's going to get in the way when I do this, so I'm going to cut this off. There we go, excess materials off, and I'm going to do exactly the same on this corner. I'm going to make sure I pull up. I pull up here, push up, and automatically you can see the pleat forms. The pleat's going to be nice and there, and just over the corner here, and I'm going to do exactly the same here. Another tack in there. Watching my fingers as I do it. Don't want to get them with a staple in them, do I? And then here, exactly the same. I'm going to make here on this nice on this corner a nice pleat, 2 staples in there, and I'm going to add another one in here, another one here, and another one just of here. There we go. And this excess material I'm also going to cut off now. So, and I've got some excess material here. Here's the bolt hole. You can see I just stapled just above it. And this I'm going to cut off as well. If I leave the material on, when I put the bolt in, it will pull and cause ladders in the material. That looks nice and neat now. So while I'm there, I'm just going to put the staples in here. There's a couple missing just of here. 1, 2, and then I'm going to staple along here down to this corner. Okay, now I've got all this excess material all around here, and I'm going to cut it off with the scissors, with the material scissors, fabric scissors. So about 1 centimetre or 1/2 centimetre away, just to tidy it up. Okay, and I've got this special upholstery tape which I like to use to cover up all the fraying on the material. It protects it as well so that the material doesn't fray anymore, and it just gives it a nice neat finish. Here and then I put the staples in diagonally so that the tape is held a little bit into place. Occasionally it comes off, so there we go. And there's a nice finish all the way around. And here's the finished seat. The material is just right. If we push it, we don't get any lines in it or any movement. So we've done that good all round, every corner. And of course, I like the back to look neat as well. And now what's left to do is to get the legs back on. And before we screw the legs on, press that like button or subscribe down below. And if you remember at the start, we had letters put on. We had A and B, and this was AB together. So we need leg A here and leg B goes over here. So Mr. Sepp to the rescue. And this is one of the finished chairs, and at the end of the film you'll see how they all looked around my dining table.